Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Blocker, you have 4 minutes as well, and I see that Ms. Pagnata Murphy has joined us, so you will follow with 2 minutes after him.
The United States Constitution is a dead letter, arbitrarily complied with to maintain the illusion that our government officials are still committed to protecting and securing our freedom and liberty interests. The reality in Georgia is our freedom is now a privilege and not a guard-endowed right as proclaimed in the Declaration of Independence. The word to best describe this usurpation is treason. Treason is an act which can be committed by a public servant or agent of a government who knowingly and willingly violates the laws of the Constitution by violating their oath of office and illegally utilizing their powers and authority to oppress or punish a citizen. This conclusion of law has been declared in Congress and can be found in the Congressional Record of Congress in the passing of the Civil Rights Act of 1866 and the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871. This conclusion of law can be found in United States Supreme Court cases such as N. Reese Sawyer, 124 U.S. 200, year 1888, Cohens versus Virginia, 6 Wheaton 264, year 1821, and Cooper versus Aaron, 358 U.S. 1, year 1958. I and countless citizens visiting and enjoying the amenities of Woodruff Park have been the victims of acts of treasons committed by multiple City of Atlanta police officers who were willingly aiding employees of the Atlanta Downtown Improvement District, known as Woodruff Park attendants, and instilling in our minds that these park attendants were actually agents of the government who possessed police powers with the authority to enforce rules and laws on public property. Because I engaged in exposing these violations of the Constitution, I have been falsely arrested 7 times. The first 3 arrests occurred because I was the 3rd person sitting at a table in an area where chess is played, which was a violation of a rule created by David Waddell and his staff. ADID employee Oliver Hillman falsely testified to these alleged violations and other criminal acts, and although I have now defeated 4 of the 6 prosecutions that were created from his false allegations, Mr. Hillman has not been fired by Mr. Waddell, nor did the City of Atlanta, in investigation of these illegal arrests, commence a prosecution against the police officers who conspired with Mr. Hillman to have me falsely arrested. Instead, Internal Affairs covered up the crimes, although they had audio-video footage of the acts in question, and court dismissals which were initiated either by the judges or the prosecutors in the cases, illegal arrests which were confirmed by the Atlanta Citizens Review Board. The Internal Affairs investigation investigating one of the instances actually ended in a dead docket, where they claimed there was no proof to show that the officers acted in violation of their duties. But if you go to YouTube and watch Atlanta Police makes arrests for exercising freedom of speech, there you'll read verbatim the narrative within the City of Atlanta Police Incident Report 121701577 regarding Officer Thomas's version of the events, and be able to disclose that Officer Kenneth Thomas, badge number 4748, completely falsified the police report to justify my false arrest, an act which under APD SOP Chapter 2020 subsection 4.3.1 mandates that he be dismissed from the police department. The law department then followed suit in concealing these crimes by claiming that no violations occurred, and then utilized the date I sent the notices certified mail to the respective government entities as the date of occurrence of the alleged unalienable rights violations. The law department also concealed the other 27 victims in the City of Atlanta's official report, a violation which was committed by investigator Angelina Kelly of the law department, supervised and approved by Gwen Burns, and confirmed by Amber Robinson. I come before this committee primarily to demand that all those responsible for violating our constitutional rights and those who conceal these crimes be removed from our government offices and be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. These atrocities committed by these government agents are destructive to the mission and duty of this government to protect the citizens' rights and afford each of us the equal protection of the law as mandated under Article 1, Section 1, Paragraph 2 of the Georgia Constitution. Criminal acts such as these, whereby the police officers and agents of private organizations doing business with the government can commit multiple federal and state felonies, and yet they are all concealed because they have not been exposed by the local media, are formidable instruments of tyranny and the complete destruction of the protections of the state and federal governments.
Mr. Blocker, thank you for your comments. Ms. Pagnata Murphy. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Ms. Pagnata Murphy has 2 minutes. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Council. I'm Gina Pagnata Murphy, President.
Point of, Mr. Warren.
Yeah. Mr. Young, I'm sorry.
Forgive me. Before the scouts leave, there is a statement that I wanted to make, and now that they're leaving, Ms. Pagnata, I wish you would give me just a moment.
If the Boy Scouts would, if you can come back in for a second, Mr. Young wanted to make some comments too, please.
I personally wanted to thank you all for availing yourself to be here today and to see government in action. This chamber is available to all citizens, regardless of race, regardless of their economic status, and as you take an oath on your duty under God and for country, and to obey the Scout law and to help other people at all times, there's so much that you learn in scouting that will follow you your whole life. But what you witnessed here today are citizens of this country who have a right and the privilege to come before us as their representatives to say what's their truth. And, you know, everybody's got a right to speak. Everybody's got a right to express their version of what the truth is. It is each of our responsibilities to do our best to find truth in the messages that come from average citizens and from any number of sources. But know that scouting and the experience that I'm sure some of you are here for your citizenship merit badges, is that correct? Well, you know, when you really look at it, you look at what's going on in Malaysia right now, internationally. There's you have still the citizenship in the world, right? As well as country, as well as the local government. It's so important for you to get these experiences locally, nationally, as well as internationally, but understand that the rights that are afforded average citizens, as you've witnessed here in this chamber, to express themselves is just part of the responsibility. The other part is yours to seek truth, to know that everybody's experience is not the same as yours, but certainly each citizen has a right to express that point of view. Always seek truth, and always understand that your open and willing spirit to hear provides you and affords you in this country an opportunity to grow and to be even larger than the limits of your classroom, the scouting experience, or even your own household. So I applaud you for being here today. Scouts are still trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And the experience that each of you experience will follow you all the days of your life. So don't forget this day, and don't forget the testimonies that you've heard, but understand that there's a broader story. There's a bigger picture. And your challenge is to take what you've heard today and to expand your minds to really understand the depth, not just of what you heard today, but the whole story. And that's my challenge to you. God bless you.
Well said, Mr. Young. Thank you again, Scouts, for visiting us with us today.